What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Nick 4K video. Today we're checking out a video for Matt V's Movies, and this video is called DVDs Are Dead, or Are They? Let's check it out. But before we do, guys, make sure to hype this video. I don't know what it does, but apparently it helps the video get circulated, so do that. I appreciate it. Now, with that said, let's check it out.
I just watched a video that shocked me. Are DVDs worthless now? Let's find out today in the video. So welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, my name is Matt, and this channel is all about movies, TV, special editions, Blu-rays, 4Ks, DVD and VHS.
Physical media, pretty much.
So if you like this kind of hobby, why not subscribe to the channel? It's absolutely free to do so. Just click down below if you're watching on a tablet or a mobile phone. Click that subscribe button, or if you're watching this on the television, click the QR code that'll just pop up here. Okay, so let's get on with the subject. So yeah, I was watching a video yesterday, and it's not a physical media YouTuber, but it's a guy who's a reseller on eBay. And this guy I followed for some time, many years. His background, he used to work for Virgin, the mega stores, and he was sort of heavily involved in the CDs, DVDs back in the 90s. And he left that job many years ago, and he's been a reseller on eBay for many years. He does love to deal in media, physical media. He's always enjoyed selling it, but sadly he's finding that it's becoming very difficult to sell this stuff on eBay. Certainly DVDs. And in this video, which I will link below, he shows a job lot of DVDs that he purchased. I don't think it's cost him very much, but he's got about 635 DVDs, which I think he had more, and he's sorted through the ones which are worth some value, and was able to sell those online. But the rest are generic titles that you'll kind of see up and down the country in the CEX stores, the charity shops and the car boot sales. So he shows you this pile of DVDs, which is taking up one wall in his room where he stores all of his stock.
Okay, so before he continues, yeah, it's pretty obvious now, especially if you're in like the 4K space and even Blu-ray space, DVDs are pretty much worthless to people who have adopted the newer formats. If you are a Blu-ray fan, there's no reason why you'd have a DVD unless you cannot get that movie on 4K or Blue, right? So that's pretty much why most more higher end collectors, I'd say higher end, right? The 4K, the Blu-ray collectors, they will prefer to have the 1080p or higher. That's just how it is. Some DVDs, like especially more modern ones, they look pretty okay, especially if you have it on like an OLED and your player can do like good upscaling and stuff. Looks fine. But DVD is still always just going to be behind Blu-ray, and you know, in some cases some people actually prefer the Blu-ray over the 4K because of it being a smaller file disc, as well as they don't really care about HDR and the extra resolution. And a lot of times, especially when it comes to used Blu-rays, those things are like $2-3, at most $5 a piece. You know what I'm saying? Where like a DVD sure can be $1 a piece, but for a lot of people, especially collectors who actually care about quality and who don't necessarily want to have DVD, if I have to choose between a $5 Blue or a $1 DVD, I'm going to pay $5 for the Blue. And I'm willing to bet the majority of the people watching this video right now agrees with me. So it's just one of those things where like the value of DVDs have completely dropped. And the only reason why you would be collecting DVDs is because you have no interest in Blu-ray and 4K, and you only want DVDs. Now I get like collecting used DVDs because you can get like 20 DVDs for $20 in certain places like Jubilee or whatever, so that makes sense. But there are still people out there who are buying new DVDs. They are going to Walmart and they are buying new DVDs, and new DVDs are like $15 to $20 when you could pay $25 for the Blu-ray, or even cheaper sometimes. It doesn't really make sense to me. I'd rather pay the little extra and get the more premium experience than I don't know, pay almost as much. I don't get it. And plus, you get the DVD most of the times with the Blu-ray, so it's like, you know, pay the extra $5, you get the better, you know, version of the film. But I get it. Everyone has their own way of doing things. Like I always say on my channel, work with your budget. I would personally love if everybody adopted the 4K Blu-ray to expand the format and make it better, right? I'd love that. But not everyone wants to, and that's understandable. Like, I'm not going to necessarily hate on you for being a DVD collector. I mean, I guess it is kind of like, there's that level of me, like I said, about if you buy new DVDs, I think there is that kind of like a why are you doing that type of stance. But I get, like, if you just want like 20 movies for $20, like I said, go to the Jubilee, you can fill up a whole bag. Actually, the one Jubilee near me right now has this sale that's like, fill up a full bag of media for $2. So like, that's pretty good. But the only reason why I would be picking up a DVD in 2025 is if there's a movie I really want and it's not on 4K and it's not on Blu-ray yet, or it is on those formats, I just can't get them, or it's sold out or whatever, and I really want the movie for myself. That's the only reason why I would buy a DVD. So I'm assuming that the guy he's talking about probably had a huge lot of DVDs. He sold all the ones that are more rare, or ones that don't have Blu-ray or 4K. Transfers are hard to get transfers. And now he's stuck with all the dregs. You know, he's stuck with the junk. The extra DVDs that you can go to the Jubilees that will always be stacked there, and he can't sell them. I do think there's an element to this too, and we'll probably get into that more as the video goes on. But there's an element to like eBay selling, which is just kind of like hindered because eBay takes such a big percentage of your sale. I personally used to do a bunch of eBay selling back in the day. And even back then, their percentages were kind of rough, but not too bad. Now it's like, by the time you ship something, and I know you have media mail for physical media, so it's a little different, but by the time you ship something, the percentage eBay takes, and they used to actually have a PayPal percentage, but I don't think they have that anymore. But by the time you're ship it, pack it, do all your stuff, sell it, you're losing about 30 to 40% of your sale. And that's why eBay has been kind of failing as time has gone on, because they just have those rates too high, and they're making so much money, they have to decrease those rates. I'm saying that eBay just want, like, hey guys, guess what? 10% across the board. That's it. We're only going to take 10% off of everything. eBay would blow up. It would come back and people would start using it. But that's why you see the rise of, Etsy, and there's another one that escapes my brain right now that is like eBay, but it's not. And a lot of people use that for physical media. I personally use our Facebook groups. There's a Facebook group called Physical Media for You. Definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. That group is super trusted. That's where all the admins come together and they like make sure no scammers get in there, no spammers get in there. It's all just legit people looking to sell and buy physical media and trade and stuff like that, maybe borrow, whatever. So if you want to skip over the whole eBay percentage and keep all the money for yourself, definitely go through that Facebook group. That's the best one I can recommend. I know there are some Reddit pages that are kind of like that and other things, but I always just go through the Facebook group. It's the safest way for me. I've never had any issues with it, and I've sold thousands of dollars of merchandise on that Facebook page. So with that said, and this long tangent out of the way, I just want to state, I get why DVDs aren't selling well, because nobody wants DVDs, especially now that Blu-rays have come down in price. Like I said, I'd rather pay a little more to get a Blu than to pay less and get a DVD. That's just me though. But I'm willing to bet I'm not the only person who thinks that way.
And it's a large number, as I say, 635 DVDs. There's a couple of Blu-rays in there as well, but he actually sold these for the grand sum of £28. And it kind of works out that after the fees have been deducted, postage, etc., that it winds up that each DVD comes in at about 3p. Absolutely worthless.
Wow.
When you think about it.
I'm gonna guess that's like
okay,
10 pennies each,
in charity shops,
something like that.
Get DVDs for 10p, 20p, 50p, and even £1, depending on the title. Some hold their value more than others. Generally speaking, TV shows, but you're normal generic stuff that you see time and time again
Let me check quick.
when you're in charity shops, you're at car boot sales. You know, this stuff is kind of worthless now. And it does beg the question going forward, people with their DVD collections, when they're deciding maybe to upgrade to Blu-ray or even 4K, you know, how they're going to get rid of their media. It's a worrying thought, because CEX stores now don't really want your DVDs. I mean, the trading value for those is like a penny. Again, some titles do still hold value, out of print things. Certain titles can command quite good money, but they're few and far between. The majority of people's collections will be the sort of main titles that are very popular films throughout the years that everyone's collected, and they're virtually worthless.
Okay, so
that then brings you on to
one
the
British
subject of,
pound
well,
is equal to $1.34
to trade in,
American. So there you go.
CEX has still got a lot of DVDs on their shelves, but is anyone buying them? From my experience of going into CEX stores, they aren't selling. Again, maybe the odd title now and again, maybe a new film that's come out and has got a DVD release, may still hold some value for a short period of time. But do you think we'll start to see DVDs disappear from CEX stores? Another online retailer in the UK is Music Magpie. Now they do a lot of DVDs and Blu-rays and some 4Ks, and generally speaking you can get some really good deals, certainly with DVDs, 2 for £3, 4 for £5.
Okay, so I'm going to take another second here to kind of give my thoughts on what he just said. So there's many different reasons for why the DVD is dying, right? You could say it's because physical media is dying in general and streaming is getting more popular, which we know that's just the way it is. There's also this element of Blu-rays and 4Ks have taken over half of the entire physical media sales. So that means that, like, for a long time, DVD was winning, and only recently had Blu-ray and 4K started actually winning now. So DVD is slowly getting phased out, which is actually for the best as far as, you know, what technology is. And as I always say, technology needs to advance. That's what technology does. It always needs to be getting better and improving. And eventually, if it doesn't improve, it goes obsolete, right? It's just how tech works. So we're at this point now where Blues and 4Ks are finally starting to take like the main stage, and people are leaving the DVD format and they're either jumping to Blues or they're jumping to streaming. So that's probably why we're seeing the biggest decline in DVDs right now, is because people are going like, why would I buy a DVD when streaming now has better quality than even a DVD, right? And you could even say like a 4K stream is about the same bit rate as a standard Blu-ray. So instead of paying more to effectively get a worse quality item just to have it on your shelf effectively, when it comes to DVDs, you can now choose, like, would I pay like $3 for this Blu-ray movie, or would I pay what, $15 for this streaming service? Like, it's like, I'm not going to watch anything besides just one movie. That's the one movie I want to watch on the streaming service. I'll just pay $3 to $5 for the Blue. And of course, there are a bunch of different factors to consider when it comes to the death of the DVD. But I think for sure that's one of the biggest death nails for it, is the fact that streaming is just more convenient for a lot of people, and the quality is just better than DVD. And with 4K TVs becoming blowing up more, OLEDs getting cheaper, we're probably going to see this level of, and we've already kind of seen it, but this level of adaptation to the 4K format that we've been waiting for. It's finally starting to happen. So yeah, I think it's you could say it's a sad thing because it's the end of the DVD, but in a way it's a good thing too, because it's also in a way the rise of the 4K and Blu-ray discs again. So that's nice. I like that.
But again, a lot of generic titles. But if you're looking for a certain thing, then, you know, it can help. You can buy a title for dirt cheap, say a 2 for £3, you know, and if you enjoy the film, you can then look to upgrade it. But again, do you think Music Magpie will stop selling DVDs before very long? you know, is there any worth in it? Certainly as a reseller on eBay, it doesn't look like there's much point in trying to sell DVDs at all. Okay, you might be able to sell a big job lot, 600-700 DVDs, but again, there's a lot of work involved in that. You've got to box it all up, you've got to factor in the postage, and to be honest, you think, well, is it really worth your time? Now, for this guy in the video, he kind of said that all of these DVDs didn't owe him anything. I think a lot of this stuff he picked up free, people were giving it away. So, you know, he wound up with just over £24, I think, in profit, which again is, you know, not to be sniffed at. It's still a little bit of money for something which is deemed worthless now. But yeah, it kind of really sort of brings home to you that DVDs now are kind of really worthless. And I do wonder whether CEX will continue to stock DVDs going forward. Now, on our Blue Hunts with AJ and Chris, we have seen this in the CEX stores, that the DVD shelves are becoming bare. There's not much left on the shelves. Even the Blu-rays now starting to go into the £1 bracket for certain titles. Could we see CEX maybe reduce their £1 DVDs to 50p or 20p, kind of more in line with the boot sales? They may well do that to try and shift the stock, but again, if they can't shift it, what's going to happen to it? Do you think it'll just get skipped? A lot of this stuff recycled? I mean, there's a lot of plastic in these cases. The discs will need to be recycled. I can see it happening that over time, this is going to become more and more prevalent with DVDs, unfortunately, as people just adopt Blu-rays, 4Ks, but actually even just moving on to digital only.
Yeah, like that's exactly what I just said, pretty much. The DVDs are already like the dirt cheap thing, right? But now that Blu-rays are starting to become the dirt cheap thing, why would you choose a DVD? You know, you'd pay the extra couple bucks to get the blue. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. Or, like I stated, and like he just said, streaming is a very viable option and technically cheaper if you do consume a bunch of different content. Like for me, I use a streaming service for like The Office and the occasional South Park episode and maybe the occasional TV show that might pop up that I could just subscribe for when that show's on and then unsubscribe for. But that's like 3 or 4 different streaming services I just mentioned, by the way. So instead of me paying for all of those, it would be convenient to just pay for 1 or 2 of those and, you know, purchase whatever I actually want for myself. And then, of course, if you purchase what you want based off of what you get, so if you get like a 4K, there's still a value to that, especially if you buy like a steelbook version or a special edition or a collector's that's going to eventually get sold out. You could be effectively buying something for 30 bucks that could be worth 60 or 70 next year because it's hard to find. Where like a DVD is just not going to do that unless it's one that you can't get on Blu-ray or 4K or if it's a rare DVD. But if you buy like a brand new DVD, I don't think they're doing steelbooks for DVDs anymore. Nah, they wouldn't do that. I don't even think they're doing steelbooks for Blu-rays anymore. So like, they don't do collectors for DVDs versions anymore. So it doesn't make sense to do that because you're effectively investing into something that's going to lose its value. So you're just buying a product that's going to lose value, where effectively, if you were to invest in the collector's edition, you could eventually, when you're done with that movie or collector's set, you could double your money, triple your money, maybe even more. You know what I mean? Then again, there's the opposite one where you pay 45 bucks for a steelbook thinking it's going to sell out, and then it doesn't, and then it's like 20 bucks next week. So, you know, there's some wins and losses with all things, but that's just, you know, that's the collecting game. If you're a collector, you already know that's how it works.
Be interested to hear your thoughts down below. What do you think of this? Do you still buy DVDs? I myself still buy DVDs, but few and far between. And generally it's to either just be a bargain or with the possibility of maybe upgrading that film to a Blu-ray or a 4K. Okay. I generally look at the price difference between the two. If there's quite a big price difference. So the Blu-ray is out of print and it goes for quite considerable money, over £10 shall we say, but you can get the DVD for say £150 and a 2 for 3 deal. Then I'll probably pick up the DVD. If it's a film that I really want in high definition, then I can sort of look further down the line to try and get the best deal that I can. So yeah, be interested to hear your thoughts down in those comments. What do you think of this? Do you think DVD has pretty much had it? You know, do you think it's going to disappear from our retail stores, online retailers, even the boot fairs? Do you think people are not going to bother because people aren't picking them up? Or do you think this will continue for a good many years to come and people will still collect DVDs, with the rise of unsatisfactory sort of streaming, people fed up with too many streaming platforms, they'll go for the DVDs because they're a cheaper option? Yeah, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down below. So like I say, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Thoughts down below. Fairs, do you think people are not going to bother because people aren't picking them up? Or do you think this will continue for a good many years to come and people will still collect DVDs, with the rise of unsatisfactory sort of streaming, people fed up with too many streaming platforms, they'll go for the DVDs because they're a cheaper option? Yeah, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down below.
Solid video, Matt. There's a lot of different ways to answer this question. I already did a lot of talking in this video, so I'm not going to go super deep into it. But effectively what it is, I do foresee the death of the DVD happening soon. I know that there are a lot of people who still buy DVDs. You still have your average Joe who doesn't really pay attention to higher quality. He doesn't really care. He just wants his movie, and DVD is the cheapest, so that's what he gets. I get it. But there is that element of, especially when we see with like the market share of Blu-rays and 4Ks slowly taking over DVDs now, there is that level of DVDs are dying, and at the same time Blues and 4Ks are kind of growing, which is interesting because when streaming really started taking off, we saw the death of physical media happening right before our eyes, slowly and slowly and slowly. And then somewhere around like COVID times, when all these different streaming services started coming out and people started getting tired of it, and they're like, wait a second, this is just cable 2.0, right? I feel like that jaded and even galvanized this whole physical media community to kind of get back into it. And now we're seeing a resurgence of physical media. Will it ever get back to the level of popularity it had before? No. But I do see a resurgence in the community. There's kind of like this, I don't really know, like we were doing this when physical, then streaming got more convenient, and then we started going down, and then more recently when streaming started getting more inconvenient, we started seeing the rise of physical media. Obviously not as high as it once was, but there is that resurgence, and it's interesting to see that. I'm glad to see it because me personally, I want the best version of something when I buy it, and the physical version is just the best version, especially the 4K. The 4K version is the best version compared to a digital. It's just the way it is. Like I said, the physical 4K compared to a, let's say a Netflix streaming 4K, the bitrate difference, it can be like 3 times better. And a lot of people, I get it, don't care about that. But there are people like me, and maybe you watching, who do care, and they want the best version of it. And that's pretty much what physical can give us that digital just can't do yet. Maybe one day, but for now, it just can't deliver the same quality. But what do you think about this video? Do you still buy DVDs? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn notifications for more. Make sure to hit that hype button. Still don't know what it does, but it's good, so hit it. I'd appreciate it. And if you want to see any more videos from me, make sure to click the links right here. They'll take you to other stuff. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you next one. Peace.